Hey everybody, welcome back to the usual studio. Don't worry for those of you keeping score at home. I'll be back in the classroom setting in a couple days' time as I'm going back and forth here, as you probably noticed the last few episodes. But we got to talk Irish all the time, right? And I do want to start with some men's basketball today. For all the love that the Irish have gotten in recruiting, specifically as it relates to last season's class, the 26 class, which is a top 3 class, and even going into the early stages of building the 27 football class, Notre Dame men's basketball is right there. And now that the 2025 cycle for men's basketball is effectively closed, minus a couple of guys that still need to ink with Division I programs, Micah Shrewsbury and company have to be ecstatic with this as they continue to receive high marks across the board. Now, it depends on what outlet you use. You might be an ESPNer. You might be a 24/7 guy like myself, CBS. Wherever you get your rankings from, the 2025 Notre Dame men's basketball class is easily top 10. It's probably top 5. And it's headlined by Jalen Harrelson, a combo guard from La Lumiere. You know the history with that high school out in Indiana. He's the headliner at the 4-star position. Probably should be a 5-star, quite honestly. But, I mean, that's window dressing for the most part, especially if these guys work out. The stars go right out the window. 6'6" small forward Ryder Frost and fellow small forward Brady Kohler, along with 6'10" center, the big guy, Tommy Aineman, are all 4-star recruits in their own right. And they bring their different skill sets on both ends of the floor. And that's what I love about the class. It's not just a sharpshooter. It's not just a 3-and-D. It's not just a guy at 6'10" who can grab boards. But you have guys that can be useful, yes, in the rebounding and defensive departments, but guys that can score as well. And when you talk about a Harrelson, I'm excited about the prospect, and I expect to see different situations where he is on the floor with Marcus Burton, on numerous occasions. You could sort of equate it to how good Notre Dame's backfield is when you have Jeremiah Love, who we'll talk about later in the program, on the field with Jadarian Price at the same time. I mean, when you have that 1-2 punch, it changes what a defense does from an approach perspective and schematics. And that's what I think Micah Shrewsbury, in a big year, right, coming off a down and let's be honest, a disappointing second campaign. This is a big year. And I love this class for the reasons I just mentioned, for that growth and the ability to go on both sides of the floor, up and down the floor. But the meshing that has the potential to take place when you take these 4 incoming 4-stars and mix them in with Burton, Braden Shrewsbury, Keba Njai, Logan Imes, and a slew of others, the talent is there. The bedrock and the foundation is there. And I really believe that this is a type of recruiting class, and the prognosticators and rankers seem to agree with me, because I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm not trying to. And this is not exactly breaking news. But this is a great class, and now that the window in 25 recruiting is pretty much closed, Notre Dame and Micah Shrewsbury particularly have to be ecstatic for the work that they did on the road as they look to get back into ACC prominence, not just be a regular season competitor, but make some noise in that tournament, and then beyond that, get into the field of 68. I teased some of the talk about later in the program with Jeremiah Love and how great the football recruiting has been to start, and parlay that and compare it to what Micah Shrewsbury did in the last segment. But there is big news coming out of South Bend. You remember last year how good Jordan Botello was at the Viper position through basically 3 games. And he suffered a season-ending injury on his patella in his knee. And statistically, 12 tackles, a couple of sacks in the early going of that season. He was even better than that, able to drop back in some coverage, go laterally, blow up the opposition's backfield. That's what you wanted. And the Hawaii native is going to have an opportunity now to come back. And if you've been tracking Notre Dame's social medias, and Jordan's in particular, he's posted some workout videos where he's lifting weights, he's moving side to side, he's running again, and it looks like he's going to be ready to roll for the start of the 26 campaign, which is huge. And I'll tell you what I love about the return of Botello, who did solidify that fact not too long ago that he will be returning to South Bend. You're going to see him get loads of playing time off the edge at the Viper position because that's a natural fit with him. But that's not necessarily going to take away from crucial time for Boubacar Traore and Junior Tui Alamaka. They're going to see loads of time as they continue to get better. And I know everyone involved with the football program is in love with Traore, and I am too. But I just think there is something special that may have taken a little longer to blossom in Jordan Botelho. You get him back healthy with that burst, and by all accounts on his social media accounts, that's exactly what is transpiring. Notre Dame's got they have a special defense in year one with Chris Ash, but they have a special group coming off the edge, and what they've done in that department with recruiting, the future is beyond bright, even when Botelho graduates and moves to the next level. Speaking of spectacular, you've got the NCAA track and field outdoor championships taking place, and Jaden O'Brien really serves as the placeholder here for this Notre Dame team, the senior, who is, by the way, the 23, 24, and 25 indoor national champion in the pentathlon, is tripling at this year's championship. And what that means is that she's going to compete in 3 events. And she's only one of the few people that are going to do that: 100-meter hurdles, the long jump, and the heptathlon. She'll be competing out of the NCAA East first round, 100-meter hurdles, and the long jump on Thursday, May 29th. So we will keep you posted there as these events continue to go on in these track and field championships. It's an exciting time. Her teammate Emily Covert will be competing in the women's 10,000-meter semifinal the same day on the 29th. So there's lots going on in addition to just the recruiting in multiple sports, and then the prospects leading up to where some of these guys may go that we've been talking about the last couple days. These track and field championships are a huge deal. And for someone like Jaden O'Brien, who has had a phenomenal career, a legendary career in South Bend, this is beyond a big deal. This would be a nice tip of the cap if she is able to go out there. And you expect advancement in the 100-meter hurdles, the long jump, and the hep, but to go out there and then win these events would be something really where you would say, okay, once again, the university has a legend in its hands, like they've had over the years in football, lacrosse. You talk about the Kavanaugh brothers, and even beyond that. I think we have one here in Jaden O'Brien. I think that book has been written. She can only make it better by adding another legendary chapter. And as promised, I did mention Jeremiah Love at the top of the show, and for the right reasons. And for as much love as the football program gets, and it's all deserved, you wouldn't be able to do this if you didn't have that sustainability, the consistency at different position groups. And it starts with Marcus Freeman and what him and his team have been able to do on the recruiting road. And now you see that talent develop when you have the likes of someone like Jeremiah Love. Look, Pro Football Focus a couple of weeks ago tabbed him as one of their preseason All-Americans. He was one of the running backs on that team. And coming off a near 1,200-yard campaign that included 17 rushing scores, 2 in the air. My favorite stat for Jeremiah Love last year, and this, I don't think this can be underscored, is the fact that he had a nearly 40% missed tackle rate. That's absurd. Everyone thinks back to the run when he had the brace on his leg against Penn State in the national semifinal and they just couldn't bring him down. Yes. That's a historic, given the talent, given the defense, because that Penn State defense was unbelievable across the board to be able to do that. But you remember back to a lot of Notre Dame's games where as someone who relies and is thought of as a speed back, the kid is strong and he keeps the legs pumping, and that's what you want. And I love some of the additional notoriety he's been starting to get going into this year after really opening some eyes. We who follow the program and the team knew about the individual talent, but America saw it last year. And if you're asking me, yeah, preseason All-America list, that's great. Best running back in the country, that's great. He's easily a Heisman Trophy candidate. And if you are asking me, he should be at the top of every list in America. Joining him on that PFF list was defensive back Leonard Moore, who this year is going to step into the role controlled last year before the injury by Benjamin Morrison, who was drafted in April in the second round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Moore makes the list, and he is viewed, and he should be viewed, as one of the premier corners on the Division I level in the college game. 48 tackles a year ago, 34 solo. You talk about someone like Leonard Moore, as impactful as a Jeremiah Love is, as impactful as Riley Leonard was, as impactful as a BMO was last year across the board, the growth from Adon Schuler, someone like Leonard Moore now stepping into a bigger role is the type of player who, in my opinion, can keep your defense at the upper echelon of the sport, keep them elite. One of the best in the country. And Leonard Moore last year was a huge reason why Notre Dame stayed in that level with some of the best defenses in America, even after going through injury after injury. Because don't remember how banged up Notre Dame was from a starter perspective by the time they got to the national championship, and they nearly pulled off what would have been an epic comeback. Guys like Leonard Moore are a big part of that. He deserves the honor he got a couple of weeks ago, and I just wanted to make sure that I had put that out there. For those are two guys that you have circled as a Golden Domer going into this season, and it's not rocket science. Jeremiah Love and Leonard Moore on the defensive side, Love offensively, obviously. Those individual honors are great that these two are getting, but I would expect more individual accolades come for other players, especially across a Notre Dame offensive line group that is being tabbed right now as one of the best in America. So that's a big shout out to Jeremiah Love and Leonard Moore as we wrap today's show. You know how to subscribe by now across all platforms here at NDD. Follow the Mothership Fan Arch across all its platforms as well. I hope you have a great rest of your day from wherever you may be watching from. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. And as always, go Irish.